A quiet truth hides behind many closed doors, and most people never stop long enough to notice it. Society often celebrates the people who are always out, always social, always surrounded by noise and activity. The extrovert is held up as the ideal, the person who thrives in crowded rooms, who feeds off the energy of others, who is never happier than when they are in the middle of a bustling gathering. Meanwhile, the woman who chooses the comfort of her own home is often misunderstood, seen through a lens of suspicion and pity. Some assume she is lonely, a sad figure who lacks the social connections that define a fulfilling life. Some believe she lacks confidence, that her preference for solitude is a symptom of social anxiety or low self-esteem. Others see her preference for solitude as a sign that something is missing from her life, that she is somehow incomplete because she does not crave the same constant social stimulation that others seem to need. Yet, beneath that assumption lies a reality that is far more fascinating, a truth that turns these judgments upside down. Many women who deeply love staying at home are not running away from the world at all. In fact, they may be experiencing the world more intensely than everyone around them, feeling its textures, its emotions, and its energies in ways that others cannot even perceive. These women are often empaths. They absorb emotions without trying, like sponges soaking up water in a room filled with moisture. They notice tension before a word is spoken, reading the invisible currents that flow between people. They feel the mood of a room the moment they enter it, their bodies responding to the emotional atmosphere before their minds have even processed what is happening. They pick up on sadness hidden behind smiles, stress concealed beneath polite conversations, and fear masked by bravado. While most people move through the day filtering out emotional information, letting it slide off them like water off a duck's back, empaths take much of it in, absorbing it into their own emotional systems. Over time, that emotional weight becomes exhausting, a constant burden that they carry with them wherever they go. What appears to others as a simple trip to the grocery store, a casual gathering with friends, or an ordinary conversation with a colleague can require a surprising amount of mental and emotional energy from an empath. Every interaction demands attention. Every environment demands processing. Every person demands a piece of their emotional awareness. This is why many female empaths naturally find themselves drawn toward the peace and safety of home. Not because they dislike people, not because they are antisocial, and certainly not because they are weak. Home offers something that the outside world rarely provides. It offers stillness, a precious commodity in a world that never stops moving. It offers emotional quiet, a refuge from the constant barrage of other people's feelings. It offers a place where their nervous system can finally stop scanning, processing, and absorbing everything around it, where they can finally exhale after holding their breath all day. What makes this even more interesting is that many female empaths spend years feeling misunderstood because of this preference. They are told they are too sensitive, too emotional, too withdrawn, too different. They are made to feel as though their natural inclination towards solitude is a character flaw that needs to be corrected. Yet, psychology reveals a very different story. In many cases, their desire for solitude is not a flaw at all. It is a form of self-protection, a wisdom that has been earned through experience. It is a way of preserving their energy in a world that constantly demands more from them than people realize, a world that expects them to be endlessly available, endlessly cheerful, and endlessly giving. Throughout this video, you will discover why female empaths often feel safer at home than in crowded environments, why they need more recovery time than most people, how their brains process emotional experiences differently, and why their love for solitude is often connected to strengths that remain invisible to others. You will also learn several surprising psychological traits shared by many female empaths, including patterns that even they may not fully understand about themselves, hidden aspects of their personality that only emerge in the quiet moments when no one is watching. And near the end of this video, we will uncover one of the most powerful reasons female empaths choose peace over constant social activity. A reason that changes the way many people view solitude forever, reframing it not as a weakness, but as a profound act of self-love. So, stay with us until the end, because each piece of this puzzle reveals a deeper truth about empathy, emotional sensitivity, and the hidden psychology behind women who genuinely enjoy staying at home. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Here we explore psychology, human behavior, emotional intelligence, and the hidden patterns that shape our lives. Subscribe now and join us as we uncover the fascinating psychology of female empaths who love staying at home. One of the biggest reasons many female empaths love staying at home begins with a simple fact that most people will never fully understand. They feel everything more deeply than most people around them. While others may walk through a busy day, barely noticing the emotional atmosphere around them, an empath is constantly picking up information that often goes unnoticed. A slight change in someone's tone, a forced smile hiding frustration, a tense silence between two people, the nervous energy in a crowded room, the sadness behind someone's eyes. These details do not simply register in the empath's mind. They affect her. They enter her body, her nervous system, her emotional core. They leave an imprint that can linger for hours or even days. This deeper level of emotional sensitivity is one of the defining traits of an empath. Many people experience emotions mainly through their own personal experiences. They feel happy because something good happened to them. They feel stressed because of their own problems. They feel hurt because someone disappointed them. Female empaths often experience a second layer of emotional awareness. Along with their own emotions, they are constantly sensing and absorbing the emotional states of people around them. Even when nobody says a word, they can often feel when something is wrong. Even when everyone else seems relaxed, they may notice tension quietly building beneath the surface. This is not a choice. It is an automatic, involuntary process that happens whether they want it to or not. It is as natural to them as breathing, but it comes at a cost. This creates a unique psychological experience that can become exhausting over time. Imagine carrying not only your own emotions, but also pieces of everyone else's throughout the day, picking up fragments of joy, anxiety, frustration, and sadness from every person you encounter. Eventually, the emotional load becomes heavy, a weight that presses down on the shoulders and weighs on the heart. A female empath may leave a gathering feeling drained without fully understanding why. She may spend time with people she genuinely cares about and still feel emotionally exhausted afterward, needing to retreat to a quiet space to recover. She may walk into a workplace, a family event, or a social gathering and immediately sense the stress, frustration, anxiety, excitement, or sadness present in the environment, even before anyone has spoken a word. Her mind is constantly receiving emotional information. Her nervous system is constantly processing it, sorting through the data, trying to make sense of it all. Many people assume that emotional sensitivity is simply about crying easily or being sentimental. In reality, it often goes much deeper than that. Emotional sensitivity means being highly aware of subtle emotional shifts that other people miss. It means noticing the discomfort behind someone's laughter, the pain behind their bravado, the fear behind their anger. It means sensing conflict before it becomes visible, feeling the electricity in the air when two people are at odds. It means feeling emotional tension even when nobody is openly discussing it, even when everyone is pretending that everything is fine. This heightened awareness can be both a gift and a burden, a double-edged sword that allows for profound connection but also demands a high price. It helps female empaths build deep relationships and understand people on a profound level, making them the friends everyone turns to in times of crisis, the confidants who can be trusted with the deepest secrets. But it also means they rarely get a break from emotional stimulation when they are around others. The world is never quiet for them. There is always something to feel, something to process, something to absorb. This is why many female empaths often describe feeling tired after spending time in busy environments. The fatigue is not always physical. It is emotional. Their minds have been working constantly, analyzing every interaction, interpreting every gesture, decoding every unspoken message. Their emotions have been processing constantly, responding to the feelings of everyone around them. Their attention has been scanning constantly, monitoring the environment for threats and opportunities alike. By the time they return home, they may feel as though they have carried an invisible weight all day long, a weight that has left them drained and depleted. One reason this emotional fatigue develops is because empaths tend to absorb stress from others without realizing it. A stressed coworker can affect their mood, their anxiety seeping into the empath's emotional system. A frustrated friend can leave them feeling uneasy, their irritation becoming a stone in the empath's shoe. A family member's anxiety can linger in their thoughts long after the conversation ends, a haunting echo that refuses to fade. Many female empaths spend years believing these emotions belong entirely to them, assuming that their exhaustion is a sign of personal weakness rather than a natural response to their environment. They may suddenly feel overwhelmed, irritated, or emotionally heavy without realizing they have absorbed some of the emotional atmosphere surrounding them. Over time, this creates a powerful need for recovery. Home becomes the place where that recovery finally happens. Home is where the emotional noise begins to fade, where the constant input finally stops. Home is where they can separate their own feelings from the feelings they have collected throughout the day, sorting through the tangle of emotions that has accumulated. Home allows them to reconnect with themselves after spending hours connected to everyone else, to remember who they are beneath all the borrowed feelings. This is one reason why many female empaths genuinely enjoy being at home. It is not simply about comfort. It is about emotional restoration. The home environment often gives them permission to stop absorbing. It gives them permission to stop monitoring. It gives them permission to stop carrying emotional energy that does not belong to them. Here, they can finally let their guard down, put down the heavy load, and simply exist without the constant demands of social engagement. This naturally leads to another important reason female empaths are drawn towards staying home. Home feels safe because it is predictable. Most people underestimate how much energy uncertainty requires. For an empath, uncertainty often means more emotional information to process, more variables to track, more possibilities to consider. Every new environment introduces new personalities, new moods, new social expectations, and new emotional dynamics. Even when nothing negative happens, the empath's mind remains active, vigilant, watchful. It pays attention. It observes. It absorbs. It absorbs. Crowded environments can be especially challenging because they create what could be called emotional noise, a cacophony of feelings that bombards the empath from every direction. Every person brings their own emotions, concerns, frustrations, expectations, and energy into the space. Most people filter much of this out automatically, their brains protecting them from the overwhelming input. Female empaths often struggle to ignore it. Their attention naturally picks up these emotional signals, drawn to them like a magnet to iron. A crowded shopping center, a busy event, or a large social gathering may appear perfectly normal from the outside, just another scene of everyday life. Yet, internally, it can feel overwhelming, a sensory assault that leaves them reeling. Their minds are receiving far more information than people realize, processing a flood of emotional data that most others never even register. This is why many female empaths feel a sense of relief when they return home. The environment becomes familiar. The emotional variables decrease. The uncertainty decreases. Their nervous system no longer needs to remain on high alert, scanning the horizon for threats. At home, there are fewer surprises. The environment is known, every corner and every shadow familiar. The routines are familiar, providing a comforting structure to the day. The atmosphere is easier to control, a space they can curate to support their emotional needs. This predictability creates a powerful psychological effect. The brain begins to relax. The constant scanning starts to slow down. Emotional vigilance decreases. Many female empaths are not consciously thinking about every emotional detail around them. Much of this process happens automatically, below the level of conscious awareness. Their brains simply remain alert to emotional information, always ready to respond. When they enter a predictable environment, that automatic alertness can finally ease, allowing them to rest. This creates a sense of peace that is difficult to explain to people who do not experience the world in the same way, a peace that feels like coming home after a long journey. Some people seek excitement and constant activity because novelty energizes them, because the unfamiliar stimulates their minds. Many female empaths seek peace because predictability restores them, because the familiar soothes their frayed nerves. Unexpected social interactions also require significant mental energy. A simple conversation may involve much more processing than others realize. While speaking with someone, an empath may be noticing facial expressions, tone changes, emotional undertones, hidden concerns, and unspoken feelings all at the same time, processing a dozen different streams of information simultaneously. This deep level of awareness can make social interactions meaningful, rich with connection, but it also makes them tiring, depleting the empath's energy reserves. After several hours of social engagement, even enjoyable social engagement, the empath often feels mentally and emotionally full, as if she has eaten a heavy meal that needs to be digested. She may need quiet time, not because the interaction was negative, but because her mind needs space to recover from the constant flow of emotional information. Home provides that space. Home allows her to exist without constantly interpreting emotional signals. Home becomes a place where she can simply be present, where she can just be, without the pressure to perform or engage. This is one reason female empaths are often misunderstood. Many people mistake them for introverts. While there can certainly be overlap, being an empath is not exactly the same as being introverted. An introvert typically loses energy through social interaction and gains energy through solitude. An empath may genuinely enjoy people, relationships, and meaningful conversations. In fact, many female empaths love connecting with others on a deep emotional level, forging bonds that are rare and precious. They enjoy understanding people. They enjoy helping people. They enjoy forming close bonds that transcend the superficial. The difference is that their emotional involvement tends to be much deeper than average, and because they connect so deeply, they often absorb more emotional information than most people during those interactions. This creates the need for recovery afterward, a period of solitude to process and recharge. Many female empaths can spend hours engaged in heartfelt conversations, giving their full attention to the person in front of them. They can be warm, compassionate, and socially skilled, the life of the party in their own quiet way. They can enjoy spending time with friends and family, cherishing the moments of connection. Yet, once the interaction ends, they often need solitude, a quiet space to decompress and restore their equilibrium. People who do not understand this may assume the empath is pulling away or becoming distant, that she is somehow angry or upset. In reality, she is simply recharging, filling her tank after a long journey. Her need for solitude is not a rejection of others. It is emotional maintenance, just as the body needs rest after physical activity. This is a critical distinction that many people fail to grasp. Just as the body needs rest after physical activity to repair and rebuild, the empath's mind needs rest after emotional activity to process and integrate. This distinction is important because many female empaths spend years feeling guilty about their need for alone time. They worry that others will misunderstand them, that their need for solitude will be interpreted as coldness or disinterest. They worry that people will see them as antisocial or unfriendly. Yet, their solitude often has nothing to do with disliking people. It has everything to do with protecting their emotional balance, a necessary act of self-care. The misunderstanding becomes even greater because female empaths often appear highly social when they choose to engage. They can be excellent listeners, making others feel heard and understood. They can make others feel understood, validating their feelings and experiences. They can create deep emotional connections very quickly, building trust in a matter of moments. People may assume that because they are capable of these interactions, they should want them constantly, that their capacity for connection implies a constant desire for it. What others fail to see is the recovery period that follows, the quiet hours the empath needs to process what happened. The empath may need hours of quiet afterward, time to decompress and let go of the emotional residue. She may need time alone with her thoughts, to sort through what she experienced. She may need space where nobody expects anything from her emotionally, where she can just be. This recovery period is often invisible to the outside world, yet it is essential to her well-being, as vital as sleep or food. One of the most fascinating aspects of female empaths is what happens during that time alone. While many people move on quickly from daily experiences, empaths often continue processing them long after they happen. They replay conversations, revisiting the words and their meanings. They reflect on interactions, considering what was said and what was left unsaid. They think about how people felt, empathizing with their struggles and joys. They analyze subtle moments others may have forgotten entirely, piecing together the hidden narrative. A conversation that lasted 10 minutes may remain in an empath's mind for days, its echoes reverberating through her consciousness. Not because she is obsessed, not because she is anxious, but because her mind naturally searches for emotional meaning, for the deeper significance beneath the surface. She wants to understand. She wants to connect the pieces. She wants to make sense of what happened beneath the surface, to uncover the truth that lies hidden. This tendency to process emotions deeply is another reason home feels so important. At home, the empath finally has the space to sort through everything she has collected. The emotions, the conversations, the observations, the concerns, the questions, the experiences. All of it begins to settle, like sediment in a glass of water. Many female empaths use solitude as a form of emotional organization, a way to bring order to the chaos of their feelings. Their minds quietly review what they experience throughout the day, sifting through the information. They reflect on people's behavior, trying to understand the motivations behind it. They consider different perspectives, seeing the situation from multiple angles. They search for deeper understanding, for the truth that lies hidden. While others may see isolation, the empath is often doing significant emotional work internally, work that is invisible but essential. This internal processing can sometimes surprise people who are not naturally empathetic. They may wonder why the empath still thinks about a conversation long after everyone else has forgotten it, why it lingers in her mind. They may wonder why she notices details that seemed insignificant, why she sees things that others miss. The answer lies in how deeply she experiences emotional information. Small moments often carry meaning for her, weight that others do not perceive. Brief interactions often leave impressions that last far longer than expected. Subtle emotional signals often remain stored in her memory, ready to be recalled when needed. Home provides the environment where she can process these impressions without interruption, without the demands of social interaction. Many female empaths discover that some of their greatest insights emerge during these quiet periods alone, when the world is still and they can finally hear their own thoughts. Once the noise of the outside world fades, their thoughts become clearer, sharper, more focused. Their emotions become easier to understand, their meaning becoming apparent. Their intuition becomes stronger, guiding them toward truth. Connections begin to appear between experiences that initially seemed unrelated, revealing hidden patterns. This is why solitude often feels productive rather than lonely for an empath. She is not simply sitting alone, staring at the walls. She is processing, reflecting, understanding, and reconnecting with herself, doing the deep internal work that sustains her emotional life. The quiet environment gives her mind room to work through emotions that might otherwise remain unresolved, to heal wounds that might otherwise fester. Another reason many female empaths are naturally drawn towards staying at home is because home protects them from emotional overload. While most people notice drama, conflict, negativity, and social pressure, empaths often feel these things at a much deeper level, experiencing them viscerally. What may seem like a small disagreement to one person can feel emotionally exhausting to an empath, a storm that shakes their inner world. What appears to be harmless gossip can create tension in their minds long after everyone else has forgotten about it, a lingering unease that colors their mood. What seems like ordinary negativity can quietly drain their energy throughout the day, a slow leak that leaves them depleted. This happens because empaths are highly affected by emotional environments. They do not simply observe emotional energy around them. They absorb it, taking it into themselves. They carry it, bearing the weight of it. They process it, trying to make sense of it. In many cases, they continue carrying it even after they leave the situation behind, the emotions lingering like a shadow. A toxic interaction that another person forgets within an hour may stay in an empath's mind for days, replaying like a broken record. They replay the conversation, examining every word. They think about what was said, searching for hidden meaning. They analyze the emotions involved, trying to understand the dynamics. They wonder why the conflict happened, looking for the root cause. They question whether someone was hurt, their empathy extending even to those who hurt them. They search for understanding, believing that insight will bring peace. Their minds rarely dismiss emotional experiences quickly. Instead, those experiences often continue echoing beneath the surface long after the moment has passed, ghosts that haunt their consciousness. This is one reason social environments can sometimes feel overwhelming for female empaths. They are not only dealing with what is happening directly to them, they are often processing what is happening between everyone else as well, absorbing the emotional dynamics of the entire group. They notice tension between friends, the unspoken conflict that simmers beneath the surface. They notice hidden resentment between coworkers, the jealousy and competition that is never openly discussed. They notice frustration behind forced smiles, the anger that is suppressed. They notice emotional discomfort that others pretend does not exist, the elephant in the room. Because they are constantly aware of these emotional undercurrents, being around conflict can become exhausting. Even when they are not directly involved, they still feel the emotional atmosphere surrounding it. A room filled with stress can affect them, their bodies responding to the tension. A negative conversation can affect them, the words settling into their psyche. A hostile environment can affect them, the aggression wearing them down. Over time, this creates a strong desire for emotional safety, a haven where they can relax. Home often becomes the place where that safety exists, a sanctuary from the emotional storms of the outside world. Inside their own space, many female empaths finally experience relief. The emotional pressure begins to fade, the weight lifting from their shoulders. The outside world's demands become quieter, the noise fading into the distance. The constant exposure to other people's emotions decreases, giving them room to breathe. Their minds stop working overtime, the relentless processing finally pausing. Their nervous systems stop preparing for emotional surprises, finally able to rest. Home acts as an emotional shield, a barrier between the empath and the chaos of the world. It creates distance between the empath and the emotional chaos that often exists in the outside world, a buffer that protects their peace. This does not mean they are hiding from life. It means they are protecting their mental and emotional well-being, making a conscious choice to prioritize their health. Just as someone protects their physical health by resting when they are tired, an empath protects their emotional health by creating space away from emotional overload. Many people underestimate how much emotional pressure exists in daily life. Social expectations, workplace stress, family dynamics, online negativity, and constant communication can slowly wear down even emotionally strong individuals, eroding their resilience. For empaths, this pressure often feels magnified, a weight that is heavier for them than for others. Their minds process emotional information more deeply and for longer periods of time, making the accumulation of stress more intense. Because of this, they require recovery, a period of rest and restoration. Home becomes the environment where that recovery can happen naturally, where they can heal and rebuild their emotional reserves. The nervous system finally begins to reset, the fight-or-flight response calming down. The mind slows down, the constant chatter quieting. Emotional tension starts leaving the body, the muscles relaxing. Many female empaths describe this feeling as finally being able to breathe again, a deep exhale after holding their breath all day. The moment they close the door behind them, they feel lighter, as if a heavy coat has been removed. Not because they dislike people, but because they are no longer carrying everyone's emotions at once, no longer bearing the weight of the world. What makes this even more interesting is that many female empaths genuinely enjoy being alone. This is often misunderstood by people who associate solitude with loneliness, who cannot imagine being happy without constant company. For an empath, solitude and loneliness are not the same thing. Loneliness feels like an absence, a void that aches to be filled. Solitude feels like nourishment, a feast for the soul. Many female empaths have rich inner worlds that keep them deeply engaged, even when nobody else is around, worlds filled with thoughts, dreams, and possibilities. They are often highly reflective individuals who enjoy exploring their thoughts and emotions, delving into the depths of their own minds. Their minds rarely remain still, always moving, always questioning, always questioning. They are constantly learning, imagining, creating, questioning, and discovering new perspectives, their curiosity never satisfied. Because of this, they do not depend on constant social interaction to feel fulfilled, finding satisfaction in their own company. Many female empaths are naturally creative. Creativity often becomes an outlet for the emotions they experience so deeply, a way to express what words cannot. Some enjoy writing, pouring their thoughts onto the page. Some enjoy reading, escaping into other worlds. Some enjoy art, music, crafting, journaling, or personal projects, creating beauty from feeling. Others simply enjoy thinking, finding pleasure in the act of contemplation. Their imagination becomes a place where ideas grow and emotions find expression, a fertile ground for the mind. While some people need constant activity to feel stimulated, empaths often find stimulation within their own minds, in the rich landscape of their inner world. Hours can pass while they are reflecting on life, exploring new ideas, reading meaningful books, or simply sitting quietly with their thoughts, lost in the depths of their own consciousness. These activities do not bore them. They energize them, feeding their souls. Their inner world is often far richer than people realize, a vibrant universe that exists beyond the physical realm. While others focus primarily on external experiences, seeking stimulation from the outside world, empaths spend a significant amount of time exploring their internal experiences, delving into the depths of their own psyche. They think deeply about relationships, trying to understand the dynamics that shape them. They think deeply about purpose, searching for meaning in their lives. They think deeply about human behavior, fascinated by the complexity of the human mind. They notice patterns, connecting dots that others miss. They make connections, seeing relationships between seemingly unrelated things. They seek understanding, driven by an insatiable curiosity. This depth of thought creates a level of engagement that many people never see from the outside, a richness of experience that is invisible to the casual observer. A female empath sitting alone at home may appear inactive to others, but internally, she may be exploring ideas, emotions, memories, dreams, and possibilities that keep her fully engaged. This ability to enjoy their own company is one reason many female empaths are less dependent on external validation than people assume. They do not always need constant attention to feel valuable, finding worth within themselves. They do not need to be surrounded by people every moment of the day, comfortable in their solitude. They can spend time alone without feeling abandoned because they genuinely enjoy the relationship they have with themselves, a relationship built on trust and understanding. This is a powerful quality that often develops over time as they learn to appreciate their own company. As they become more comfortable with their own thoughts, they discover that solitude can be deeply rewarding, a gift rather than a punishment. It becomes a place where they reconnect with their values, their creativity, and their emotional balance, a sanctuary for the soul. Many female empaths also enjoy dreaming about possibilities, envisioning the future. They think about future goals, mapping out the path ahead. They think about personal growth, considering who they want to become. They think about relationships and experiences they hope to create, imagining the life they desire. Their imagination allows them to explore life beyond the limits of their immediate surroundings, freeing them from the constraints of the present. This imaginative nature often makes solitude feel productive rather than empty, a space for creation and possibility. While others may see inactivity, the empath is often engaged in meaningful internal work that is invisible but essential. Her mind remains active, her curiosity alive, her creativity flowing. Because of these differences, many female empaths grow up feeling different from other people, like outsiders in their own lives. From an early age, they often notice that they react more strongly to situations than others seem to, their emotions running deeper. They care deeply about things that others dismiss, their hearts open to the world. They think deeply about things that others overlook, their minds searching for meaning. They feel deeply about experiences that others move past quickly, their emotions lingering long after. This can create a sense of isolation during childhood and adolescence, a feeling of being alone in a crowded room. Many female empaths remember hearing phrases that made them question themselves, words that cut deep. They were told they were too sensitive, that their feelings were excessive. They were told they were overthinking, that their analysis was unnecessary. They were told they took things too personally, that they needed to toughen up. They were told to stop being emotional, to suppress their feelings. Over time, these messages can create confusion because the empath begins to wonder why her experiences seem so different from everyone else's, why she feels so much when others feel so little. What many people fail to understand is that sensitivity is not weakness. Sensitivity is awareness, a heightened perception of the world. Empaths simply notice and process more emotional information than average, experiencing life in high definition. Yet, because society often rewards emotional toughness and constant social activity, praising those who can power through without complaint, many empaths feel pressure to become someone they are not. They try to fit into environments that drain them, forcing themselves into situations that leave them exhausted. They push themselves into social situations that leave them exhausted, sacrificing their own comfort for the sake of others. They ignore their own emotional needs in order to meet other people's expectations, suppressing their true selves. For a period of time, this may seem manageable, but eventually, the emotional cost becomes impossible to ignore, the debt growing too large to repay. As female empaths mature, many begin recognizing a pattern, a recurring theme in their lives. The environments that leave them exhausted are often the environments that require them to suppress who they truly are, to hide their true nature. The situations that drain them are often the situations where they feel misunderstood, where their needs are not respected. The relationships that overwhelm them are often the relationships where their sensitivity is treated as a problem instead of a strength, where they are asked to be less than they are. Slowly, they begin making different choices, prioritizing their own well-being. They stop forcing themselves into spaces that constantly deplete their energy, learning to say no. They stop chasing approval from people who do not understand them, letting go of the need for validation. They begin creating lives that support their emotional well-being instead of constantly challenging it, building a world that honors their nature. Home becomes an important part of this transformation, a cornerstone of their new life. Home becomes the place where they no longer have to explain themselves, where they can just be. It becomes the place where they no longer have to pretend to be less sensitive than they really are, where they can drop the mask. It becomes the place where they can think freely, feel freely, and exist freely, without the pressure to perform. Many female empaths describe a sense of relief when they are alone because they are finally able to be fully authentic, no longer hiding behind a facade. There is no pressure to perform, no need to put on a show. There is no pressure to compete, no need to prove their worth. There is no pressure to impress, no need to be someone they are not. There is no pressure to hide their emotional depth, no need to apologize for who they are. They can simply be themselves, unguarded and free. This leads to one of the most important truths about female empaths who love staying at home. Their preference for home is often not avoidance at all. It is self-respect, a recognition of their own value. Many people assume that staying home means missing out on life, that choosing solitude is a sign of fear. But for many empaths, the choice is rooted in self-awareness, a deep understanding of their own needs. They understand what drains them, what depletes their energy and leaves them empty. They understand what restores them, what fills them up and makes them whole. They know which environments leave them emotionally depleted and which environments help them feel balanced, making conscious choices to protect their well-being. That knowledge allows them to make choices that protect their well-being, choices that honor their true nature. There is wisdom in recognizing your limits, in acknowledging that you are human. There is wisdom in understanding your emotional needs, in knowing what you require to thrive. Female empaths often learn this lesson through experience, through the hard-won wisdom of trial and error. After years of feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, or misunderstood, they begin paying attention to what genuinely brings them peace, to what truly matters. They stop viewing self-care as selfish, recognizing that they cannot pour from an empty cup. They stop viewing solitude as a weakness, understanding that it is a source of strength. They stop measuring their worth by how socially active they appear, freeing themselves from external expectations. Instead, they focus on creating a life that feels emotionally healthy and meaningful, a life that supports their true self. This mindset often surprises people who live for attention, popularity, or constant activity, who measure success by external markers. Female empaths frequently value depth more than visibility, finding meaning in connection rather than recognition. They value meaningful conversations more than large crowds, cherishing quality over quantity. They value authentic relationships more than social status, prioritizing honesty over appearances. They value emotional peace more than endless stimulation, choosing calm over chaos. Their choices are not based on fear of life, but on understanding themselves, on honoring their own truth. They recognize that not every invitation deserves a yes, that they can choose where to invest their energy. Not every opportunity deserves their energy, that they can be selective. Not every social expectation deserves their participation, that they can set boundaries. As they grow older, many female empaths become increasingly selective about where they invest their time and attention, recognizing the preciousness of both. They choose peace over noise, serenity over chaos. They choose emotional balance over social pressure, stability over stress. They choose environments that support their well-being instead of environments that constantly challenge it, creating a life that nurtures them. They learn that protecting their energy is not selfish, but necessary. They learn that rest is not laziness, but recovery. They learn that solitude is not isolation, but renewal. And with every choice they make to honor their emotional needs, they move closer to a life that feels authentic, balanced, and deeply meaningful. A life that truly reflects who they are. As we come to the end of this journey, a clearer picture begins to emerge, a portrait of the female empath in her natural habitat. Female empaths experience life differently from most people, seeing and feeling the world in high definition. They feel deeply, their emotions running like deep rivers. They absorb emotions that others barely notice, taking in the subtle signals of the world. They spend time processing experiences that many people quickly forget, their minds always working. They carefully protect their energy because they understand how easily it can be drained, how precious it is. They find comfort in solitude because it gives them the peace their minds and hearts need, a sanctuary from the storm. And perhaps most importantly, they value emotional balance in a world that often rewards constant noise, constant activity, and constant stimulation, finding strength in stillness. What many people call antisocial behavior is often something very different, a misunderstanding of a deeper truth. It is not fear. It is not weakness. It is not an inability to connect with others. In many cases, it is a sign of deep self-awareness, a recognition of one's own needs. Female empaths know that every environment affects them, that they are sensitive to their surroundings. Every relationship affects them, that they are impacted by the people in their lives. Every emotional experience leaves an imprint, that they carry the marks of their encounters. Because of this, they learn to be careful about where they invest their time, attention, and energy, making conscious choices about their lives. The female empath does not stay home because she has nothing to do, because she is idle. She stays home because she understands something many people spend their entire lives trying to learn, a profound truth that most never grasp. Energy is precious. Peace is precious. Mental clarity is precious. And not every invitation deserves access to her emotional world, that she can set boundaries. She knows that constantly giving without rest leads to exhaustion, to depletion. She knows that constantly absorbing without recovery leads to overwhelm, to breakdown. So, she chooses differently. She chooses spaces that restore her instead of deplete her, that fill her cup rather than empty it. She chooses environments where she can breathe, reflect, and reconnect with herself, where she can find her center. The strongest female empaths are not hiding from life. They are protecting the very qualities that make them special, the gifts that they bring to the world. Their compassion, their kindness, their sensitivity, their ability to love deeply and understand people on a level that many never reach. These are not weaknesses, but strengths that require protection. In a world that often encourages people to become harder, colder, and more disconnected, to armor themselves against vulnerability, female empaths continue choosing softness. They continue choosing understanding. They continue choosing authenticity. And that takes far more strength than most people realize, a quiet courage that goes unrecognized. Sometimes the most powerful place an empath can be is not in the center of attention. It is not in the loudest room where everyone is clamoring to be heard. It is not where everyone else expects her to be, fulfilling their expectations. Sometimes the most powerful place an empath can be is exactly where she feels most at peace, where her soul can rest. A place where her mind can rest, quiet and still. A place where her heart can heal, mending its wounds. A place where she can simply be herself without apology, without pretense, at home. If this video resonated with you, or if you recognized yourself or someone you love in these signs, let us know in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts, to connect with you. And if you enjoy exploring psychology, empathy, human behavior, and the hidden patterns that shape our lives, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss our next video. Don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who might need to hear this message today, someone who needs validation. Until next time, take care of your energy, protect your peace, and remember that understanding yourself is one of the greatest strengths you can ever develop. The quiet ones are not empty. They are full of a depth that the noisy world can never comprehend, and that depth is their power.